For 10 years, she worked day and night to turn a struggling startup into a $40 million powerhouse, sacrificing countless personal milestones along the way. But in the end, her own father humiliated her and forced her out, just to hand the CEO title to his completely unqualified brother. So she revoked the software license that powered the entire company, and within hours, the empire she built began to collapse. By the end of the day, the same father who cast her aside was at her door, begging her to help save it. Instead of commentary, let's hear directly from Maya.
My name is Maya Sterling, and for a decade I believed in a lie. I believed that if I worked hard enough, bled enough, and sacrificed enough, my father would finally see me as an equal. I was the daughter who skipped her own college graduation ceremony in 2014 because we had a server migration at 3:00 a.m., and I was the only one who knew the back-end architecture. While my friends were out celebrating, I was sitting in a windowless garage, smelling of stale coffee and burnt circuits, coding the very foundation of Sterling Logistics Solutions. By 2018, we hit a massive crunch. The market dipped, and we were $200,000 short on payroll for our 50 employees. My father, Arthur, didn't blink. He bought a second home in Scottsdale with a saltwater pool, while I voluntarily deferred my salary for 2 straight years. I lived on ramen and credit cards so our developers could keep their health insurance. I was the one who developed Apex Route, the AI algorithm that became our crown jewel. It didn't just calculate shipping paths. It predicted delays before they happened, cutting costs for our clients by 22% across the board. To the world, Arthur was the visionary founder. He was the one in the tailored suits shaking hands at country club lunches. But to our 400 enterprise clients, I was the heart of the machine. When Global Freight Corp had a midnight crisis, they didn't call the man in the suit. They called my personal cell phone because they knew I was the only one who actually knew how to fix the world I had built. The day I turned 30, I didn't want a party. I wanted the keys to the kingdom. I walked into the boardroom at 9:00 a.m. sharp, wearing my sharpest charcoal blazer, clutching a folder full of projected growth charts for our upcoming IPO. I expected to see a congratulations banner. Instead, I saw a firing squad. My father, Arthur, was sitting at the head of the mahogany table, flanked by my younger brother, Leo, and a woman from HR I'd never seen before. Leo looked like he'd crawled out of a nightclub at dawn, red-eyed, scrolling on his phone, and wearing a smirk that made my skin crawl. "Maya, sit down," Arthur said, his voice as cold as a morgue slab. He didn't wish me a happy birthday. He didn't even look me in the eye. "We've been reviewing the corporate structure ahead of the public offering. The board, meaning me, has decided that the face of Sterling Logistics needs to be more traditional. We need a male legacy at the helm to instill investor confidence. Leo is taking over as CEO, effective immediately." The air left my lungs like I'd been punched. "Leo," I managed to choke out, "Leo can't even explain what a cloud-based API is, Dad. I built this. I am this company." Arthur finally looked up, and the disdain in his eyes was blinding. "You've done a great job assisting me, Maya, truly. But you're 30 now. It's time you focused on finding a husband and starting a family instead of playing girl boss in a boardroom. We're moving you to an outside consultant role. No voting rights, no office, and a $50,000 severance." He slid a check across the table like he was tipping a waitress. It was less than what Leo spent on bottle service in a month. When I stood up, my chair screeching against the floor, 2 security guards appeared at the door. "Don't make a scene," Arthur sighed. "It's unbecoming. Hand over your key card. We've already wiped your access to the main servers." I was escorted out of my own building on my birthday, empty-handed, while my brother laughed at a meme on his phone in my chair. I sat in my car for exactly 4 minutes. I timed it. I let the hot, stinging tears blur my vision until they hit my steering wheel, and then, like a switch, flipping in a dark room, the crying just stopped. I wiped my face with the sleeve of my blazer and looked at that $50,000 check sitting in my cup holder. Arthur thought he had bought my silence. He thought he had evicted a daughter who would go home and cry into a glass of wine. He forgot who taught me how to fight. I drove straight to my storage unit and dug through a box of files from 2015. Back then, Sterling was a skeleton crew. We couldn't afford a real corporate lawyer, so I had drafted a invention rights agreement myself to protect the firm from outside claims. But I was smart even then. I had inserted a clause. All proprietary code, including the apex root architecture, remains the personal intellectual property of the lead developer, unless a revolving annual licensing fee is paid to said developer. Arthur had stopped paying that nominal fee 3 years ago to save a few bucks. He figured since I was family, the paperwork didn't matter. I walked into my attorney's office an hour later. "I want to cease and desist on his desk by morning," I told him, "and I want a formal revocation of licensing served to every board member. As of this moment, Sterling Logistics is running on stolen code." The attorney looked at the contract and whistled. "Maya, if this holds, they can't even open their laptops without infringing on your IP." "Good," I said, my voice as steady as a surgeon's hand. "Because tomorrow morning I'm launching a new home for my code, and I'm taking his air supply with me." I didn't sleep that night. I fueled myself on caffeine and the purest form of spite known to womankind. Starting at 6:00 a.m., I began the marathon. I didn't call the mid-level managers, I called the CEOs. I called Jim at Global Freight Corp, Sarah at Direct Link, and every other titan who had my personal number because I was the one who had saved their skins at 2 a.m. for the last 5 years. "Jim," I said, my voice calm and professional, "I've left Sterling. I took the apex root architecture with me. It's my legal property. I've launched Nova Systems. We're live, we're faster, and because I don't have to pay for my father's Scottsdale mortgage, I'm giving you a 15% discount if you migrate your data by noon." By 10:00 a.m., my inbox was a waterfall of intent-to-follow letters. By 2 p.m., Sterling Logistics was a hollow shell. 3 weeks later, the silence was broken by my office receptionist. "A Mr. Arthur Sterling is here to see you. He says it's urgent." My father walked in, and the man I saw wasn't the visionary founder. He looked gray. His suit was wrinkled, and his hands were shaking. Without my code, Sterling's servers had become a graveyard. Leo had tried to patch the system to bypass my lockouts, and in his incompetence, he had wiped the backup servers for their remaining 20% of clients. The company was facing $50 million in breach of contract lawsuits. "Maya," he rasped, ignoring the sleek, modern beauty of my new headquarters. "Enough of this. You've made your point. I'm prepared to offer you the managing director role, $500,000 a year. Just turn the servers back on." I looked at him, really looked at him, and realized I didn't feel anger anymore. I felt nothing. "I'm not an assistant anymore, Arthur," I said, sliding a business card across the desk. "My acquisitions department is looking for a new warehouse. I'll buy your remaining office furniture and the lease for 10 cents on the dollar. But as for a job, I don't hire people who can't see the value of the person standing right in front of them." He left without another word. Today, Nova Systems is valued at $100 million. Arthur is selling his Scottsdale home to pay his legal fees, and Leo is back to being a consultant at the local golf course. I finally have the view from the top, and the best part isn't the money. It's the fact that I never have to ask for a seat at the table ever again. I built my own.
Maya's journey is a powerful reminder that while talent is built, respect is earned, and it should never be conditional on who your family is. But I want to hear from you. Do you think Maya was too harsh on her father, or was Arthur's betrayal beyond forgiveness? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. It's important to remember that the story you just witnessed was a fictional dramatization created for awareness and societal reform. We share these scenarios to highlight the dark realities of workplace and family dynamics so that you can recognize the warning signs and avoid repeating these toxic patterns in your own life. Revenge in the real world rarely ends as cleanly as it does on screen, so let's focus on building better paths. If you found value in this lesson today, please subscribe and hit that bell icon to join us for our daily stories on justice and karma.